Why was it that the Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed?
These guys don't know what the hell to look for.
The FBI.
What was on that laptop that really caught your attention? You have these dinosaurs that are in there that
Did not want President Trump in office.
Speaking of the Bidens,
President Trump, they raid Mar-a-Lago.
What did you think about all the pardons?
Why was it that the Hunter Biden laptop story was suppressed? Again, that was evidence we found in our case, Missouri v. Biden. We uncovered that and put that out there in the public domain. That was information American voters deserve to have moving to the ballot box.
That was you guys?
We helped uncover that, absolutely, in discovery in Missouri v. Biden. Why was it that you couldn't find articles on the assassination attempt against President Trump? Why is it that popular podcasts that President Trump appears on are hard to find?
Yeah.
Where do you hide a dead body? Page 2 of a Google search. And so, again, you look at it from a consumer protection angle, there's a potential, antitrust issue there as well that's, part of litigation. But we intend to use the full spectrum of consumer protection law provided in state statute in Missouri to address those issues.
I mean, when it comes to investigating, where do you even start? I mean, especially, you're not a social media guy yourself. Are you big into tech?
I'm learning as I go.
So, I mean, it's got to be, I think that's a fear for a lot of people is, and you're doing amazing things, but, when it comes to, especially, I guess what I'm more talking about is when we see the Senate or the Congress, talking about censorship, and you got Mark Zuckerberg sitting in front of the Senate having a hearing, and you got people like Mitch McConnell who, blanks out and has a stroke mid-sentence. I mean, these guys don't know what the hell to look for. We had Feinstein died in office. I mean, you have these dinosaurs that are in there that probably don't even know how to open a damn email, and they're talking to a tech titan. Yeah. I mean, how do you guys, and you seem to be extremely effective at it, so how do you start the investigation? Do you wrap yourself around a team that is extremely well-versed in tech and SEO and all these other, and censorship and all these other things?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you start there. In Missouri, our, again, consumer protection law allows us to send subpoenas. It's called a civil investigatory demand. Mm-hmm. It has the legal effect of a subpoena. So we start, and you start pulling that thread. And as you subpoena this information, you start putting pieces together, realize, okay, there's something else down here. Now we got to subpoena that. Now we got more. And oftentimes what will happen is, these, and again, I'm speaking in broad terms, but the corporations will flood you with discovery. And they're just going to swamp you with discovery. They may even churn the discovery, so it's not in sequential order or not in a linear order, and they're just dumping documents on you and trying to drown you in discovery, or they'll drown you in vexatious discovery demands and defenses to your discovery requests if you're actually in litigation. And that's really the game in civil law. The battlefield is the discovery process. And
so they drown you in with useless information, just thousands and thousands and thousands of pages of shit that has nothing to do with what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And it takes you forever to sift through all that.
Yeah. It's would it be called a Fabian strategy? I think that's what they're trying to do, is just wear you out, never become decisively engaged, and hope you'll tire out and go away. But we don't take shots at the Missouri Attorney General's office that we don't intend to hit. Mm-hmm. We want to put lead on target. And so if we commit to something, we're going to follow through, and relentless execution is part of that process.
So if you're successful in the Google thing, will that only affect Missouri, or will that be nationwide?
I think it sets a ripple in the pond effect, a precedential effect for others. And again, what you see, you can, it's a domino effect. It's pulling the thread of a fabric. You start to unravel it. You start to take it apart, and it's for the benefit of the people of the state of Missouri, is why I do my job. But it has a net benefit to people across the United States of America. I like to tell folks in other states that, hey, I may not be your attorney general, but I can still represent you.
So do you have other states jumping in with you on the Google thing?
We don't on that particular one. And again, it's not necessarily out of a lack of desire or motivation on behalf of my colleagues. They've got their own cases and investigations going on. It's just that the authority that I wield in the consumer protection space is really just unique to the state of Missouri.
Okay.
But we've partnered on so many different lawsuits with my colleagues. And typically, over the past 2 years, those have really been targeted at the Biden-Harris administration, their usurpation of power, their attack on the United States Constitution, their undermining of the rule of law. And so in Missouri, we had north of 50 different lawsuits against the Biden-Harris administration. And so many of those were in partnership with my colleagues across the country.
You mentioned the Hunter Biden laptop. What was on that laptop that really caught your attention?
I mean, what President Trump described as the laptop from hell, and I don't know that I can pinpoint a single data point that's like, okay, well, that's the smoking gun. I think you got to take the whole thing. But the point is not, I mean, the point is that the FBI was in possession of that laptop and knew, the deep state of the FBI had the laptop and knew of its authenticity, knew it was real. And yet they had run table drills with big tech social media oligarchs with increased frequency in the days and weeks leading up to that story breaking during the fall of 2020, in the middle of the election cycle in 2020. And they had conditioned and trained big tech to be prepared for what they said would be a Russian disinformation story related to Joe Biden's son. And on the eve of that story breaking, there was a communication between agents of the deep state and the FBI and big tech, and it was instantly suppressed.
What do you mean, agents of the deep state?
There were people that were working at the FBI and may still work there. Their days are probably numbered, that did not want President Trump in office. They saw him as a threat to their power and their control. They think they're smarter than the electorate, than the people who voted for President Trump. And they wanted to do everything they could to keep him from wielding power, the authority that we, the people, had given him under our constitutional structure.
Are you in contact with Kash Patel?
I know Kash. Yeah, he's great. And we've been in contact in the past. I haven't talked to him in a while. I know he's going through his confirmation hearing today, and I'm excited. He's going to be a great FBI director. He's got so much experience in that space and in that organization. And man, he knows how to get the job done.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to him getting in there. I mean, do you think there's going to be any, I mean, by the time this comes out, we'll know, I think, but do you think they'll have run into any snags?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't.
Pretty clean past.
Yeah, he's someone who's a proven patriot, someone who's a proven effectiveness on national security issues, on legal issues, and from a law enforcement perspective. And so I think the Senate would be well served to get him confirmed and get him on the job. And there's going to be a lot of work to do, but I know he's up to the task.
Yeah. Also, speaking of the Bidens, what did you think about all the pardons? Was it the day before he pardoned Milley, pardoned, who else did he pardon? He pardoned Milley, pardoned
family,
Fauci, pardoned his family hours before, the J6 committee.
Well, here's my question, Shawn.
Cheney.
How can those pardons be legally valid?
See, that's what I want to know. I thought when you pardon somebody, it had to be for a very specific crime.
Well, I will say this, and the difference between the United States Constitution and the clemency authority given to the President of the United States and the clemency authority codified in the Missouri State Constitution given to our governor. It changed in, I think, 1875 in the state of Missouri. Our governor used to have pardon power for state offenses that was parallel to the United States president's power under the federal Constitution. And that changed after the Civil War. And in Missouri, the Constitution was amended to limit the governor's clemency authority to only after a conviction. President of the United States has the ability, the authority, constitutional authority to pardon before a charge is even filed, before a criminal charge is even filed or a prosecution is commenced, which is unique. But there is an overbreadth issue. Like if you go so so broad, it's so vague, like it becomes this like ultimate get out of jail free card. So I think that's a problem. But I think there's a deeper problem. Think about when the two-tiered justice system that Kash Patel spoke of, sitting in this very chair on your show, and how he saw how President Trump and President Biden were treated differently in instances where they were accused of having secret documents. Now, I agree with Kash Patel, hopefully he'll be Director Patel, that President Trump had the authority to have the documents. This was the most bogus, witch hunt of them all. And thank goodness Jack Smith was struck down in court and is no longer employed by DOJ. But think about what happened with Joe Biden. So President Trump, they raid Mar-a-Lago. They put the evidence out to make it look more inculpatory. Take pictures of it. Rake him over the coals. And with Joe Biden, they say, look, he's an old man. He's too enfeebled. He doesn't have the mental acuity to form the mens rea, the mental state to commit an intentional act, or an intentional criminal act. That's what Biden's own DOJ said about him.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.